Hello, it's your friend Phil, Project Management Trainer and Coach. Today we're going to be exploring a few of the pages from my book, The 12 Laws of Stakeholder Leadership. If you've ever managed a project and you had lots of people that the project depended on, and lots of people who depended on the end result of the project, then you know what it means to manage stakeholders, to manage stakeholder expectations. But more importantly, we're going to be studying how to effectively lead our stakeholders. Managing stakeholders as far as their work or as far as their behaviors on the project is not very realistic, especially if you're the project manager. Because a lot of times these stakeholders do not even have dotted line relationships with the project manager. A lot of times the project manager finds him or herself leading, as it were, without authority. You see, stakeholder leadership is an inside job. It's all about influence. Nothing more, nothing less. The process to gaining influence with our stakeholders begins with one's mindset. See your stakeholder requirements as an opportunity to add value and stand out. Without a doubt, you will become their go-to person and most valued player. Make your stakeholders number one, and they'll make you number one. As a project manager, I've come to appreciate my stakeholders. A stakeholder who has given you the project, a stakeholder who is helping you get to your end goal on the project, a stakeholder who gives you tough to swallow but realistic feedback is a great stakeholder to value. You see, companies with a tradition for success have always put their stakeholders first. Take a look at Domino's Pizza. They started home delivery in the fast food business. Why? Because they wanted to make it easier for their stakeholders, the customer. Disney World and Disneyland call their customers guests. They don't look at their customers as just customers. They look at them as guests, people who they value. Microage calls their customers clients, highly value their customers. So remember who a stakeholder is. It's anyone who can influence the project, anyone who can impact the project, and that could be the customer, your manager, your team, the PMO. All of these folks are stakeholders. You see, in the words of Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, he said, there is only one boss, the customer. And he or she can fire everybody in the company, from the chairman on down, simply by spending his or her money elsewhere. It's absolutely true. So, not only should we value our customers, our clients, our guests, whatever we call them, we should also value those folks who are helping us on the project, who are helping us get from point A to point B. The programmers, the testers, the coders, the engineers, the QA and QC folks, those are all stakeholders. So let's examine why exactly stakeholders follow. This is from John C. Maxwell's book, The 5 Levels of Leadership. The 5 levels of leadership. I look at them as 5 positioning levels for stakeholder leadership. The first position here, level 1, is all about rights. Stakeholders follow you because they have to. And this is very rare in the world of project management, where stakeholders follow you because you are the ultimate boss. Now, that happens in projectized organizations and strong matrices and maybe even balanced matrices. But when it comes to weak matrices and functional organizations, that's wishful thinking. Very rarely does the project manager get an anchor or a leg up on leadership because of position. Now, if we take a look at other functions in the company and other positions, like managers obviously manage people, they've got the position, directors, VP, C-level folks, CFOs, CTOs. But when it comes to the project manager, it's definitely got to be more than position, right? Follow me because I'm the project manager. No, that doesn't happen. So let's move up to level 2. Level 2 is called the permission level. And people follow you because they like you. Now, at level 2, it's all about relationships. The relationships you build, it's all about likability. As a PM, how likable are you? How likable are you to the people performing the work? How likable are you to the customer? How likable are you to the client? How likable are you to the project sponsor? Does the project sponsor perceive Phil, the project manager, as someone with attitudinal issues? Or is Phil likable? So level 2, to influence folks to become more effective as a stakeholder leader, you have to be aware of the relationship level. And people follow you because they buy into you and they like you. Now, we cannot create great traction in leadership by just likability. Because Phil may be a likable guy and might be a nice chatty guy and easy to get along with, but when it comes to delivering the goods, he fizzles out. He's not able to deliver the goods. So it takes more than just relationships to effectively lead. And that takes us to the next level, which is the results level. People follow because of what you have done in the company, what you've done in the firm, what you've done in previous projects, how you built that PMO, how you showed value to the firm. That's level 3. It's all about results. People see what you're doing and they can truly see you're not just fluffing or faking, you're truly delivering value. And that's level 3. It goes beyond just being likable, but people can actually see, yep, she knows her stuff, she knows what she's doing. And moving on to level 4, the reproduction level. This level is a really, really special level for me in particular, because at level 4, it's all about people development. People follow you because of how you've poured into their lives, how you've developed them, how you've trained them, mentored them, coached them, added value to them. And one of the people who comes to my mind is Mary Hirschner, my mentor, and how she poured value and substance into my project management growth. I think about other managers I've had, like Ian and Jim and Tim, yes, from different organizations. You see, people never forget what you have done for them in their career. And all of these people I mentioned, they helped me gain traction in my career. They helped me develop as a person. They helped me develop where I was, and they gave me a chance to do what I'm doing. If not for those folks, I wouldn't be where I am today. So how about you? Can someone say the same thing about you? About how you've developed them? You see, this is how you gain stakeholder leadership traction, right? The so-called subordinates, or the people that report to you, how have you developed them? There's all sorts of opportunities for developing people that work on the same level, peers or subordinates, or even people who may be at a higher level, so to speak, in the organization. Jack Welch talks about how someone in the organization mentored and coached him in the area of finance. And that person definitely wasn't in the VP or C level. That person helped him get to where he totally understood financial values, financial terms. He was able to speak to spreadsheets and so on. He was seen. So you don't always have to be at the higher level to effectively lead at level 4. Level 5 is the embodiment of levels 1 to 4 being seen in a repetitive manner, and it's the pinnacle. But let me say that if at Organization X you were leading at levels 1 through 5, and you've got all that respect, you might go to Company A and have to start all the way from the beginning. All right, so leading at level 5 doesn't mean that 4, 3, 2, and 1 are not observed. Leading at level 3 does not mean you forget the relationships. It's building upon each level as you go. Okay, and there are some levels that we need more help with to effectively lead. But these are the reasons stakeholders follow. These are the reasons why stakeholders respect you as a leader. So let's take a look at the summary of some of these laws. We've got the law of solvability, the law of dependability, the law of the plan, which speaks for itself, the law of engagement, the law of the extra mile, the law of value, the law of synergy, the law of openness, the law of connection, the law of communication, the law of the stretch, and the law of collaboration. And if you're having stakeholder management issues in your firm, then why on earth wouldn't you want to know more about this? So shoot me an email, shoot me a message if you want to know more about these laws. But let's tackle the law of solvability. Every stakeholder problem is solvable. People who solve problems influence their stakeholders, and this gives them a leadership edge. Every problem is solvable. You see, problem solving starts with the attitude of the mind. First of all, believing you can solve the problem, not being all mousy where the problem is concerned and running away from it, but taking that problem and saying, big deal, I can do this, I can solve this. Albert Einstein said we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. You have to be at a level above. You see, sometimes adversity is what you need to face in order to become successful, said Zig Ziglar. What a profound quote there. Sometimes you just need a problem to become successful. So, in the law of solvability, people who solve problems influence their stakeholders. Stakeholders observe what you've done for the company. Remember, we talked about level 3. It's all about what you've done. And solving problems and bringing stuff to the table gives you the leadership edge. The less problems you solve, the less influence you gain. Think about it. The more problems you solve, the more influence you gain. I often tell project managers, you shouldn't have a job if there are no problems, so be ready to encounter difficulties. A lot of PMs are living in the now instead of being destination oriented. We have to think about where we're going. We have to constantly reflect to resolve all stakeholder issues. We need to harness the power of intentional positivity. Someone brings a problem and you shut them down immediately. Why? Because you're being negative as far as that problem, that opportunity to shine is concerned. We need to attack the problem and not the person. I believe that all stakeholder problems are solvable. They're negotiable, they're solvable, and they can be worked on. You see, I say that each problem is an opportunity to learn and expand into higher levels of responsibility. Herman Melville said, after all, a smooth sea never made a successful sailor. Henry Kaiser said, a problem is an opportunity in workloads. Cicero said, problems have their own reward. The greater the difficulty, the greater the glory. You see, throughout my career in working with stakeholders, I've never once gained influence or buy-in without demonstrating great problem-solving ability. Stakeholders that I've observed very quickly gravitate towards people who solve problems with an intentionally positive mindset. Approach a stakeholder relationship on any project that you find yourself on with the intent to solve problems. This is 1st of January. You see, make it your resolution to solve problems. To be an effective stakeholder leader who goes above and beyond the norm, we should sit back to reflect on all stakeholder issues, and we need to be able to harness the power of being intentionally positive towards our stakeholders' concerns at all times, even when it's difficult. And that concludes the first law, the law of solvability. Be a problem solver. Always remember before you go to your boss and say, I have a problem, things aren't working as they should. Before you're tempted to do that, how about sitting back, reflecting, relaxing, thinking, getting out of the proverbial box and looking for ways to solve that problem? How much more value would you bring to the firm if you didn't just bring a problem, or you didn't just convey a problem, but if you solved a problem? So, how do you problem solve? I would highly advise you to Google the 7 thinking hats. Dr. Ed DeBono has some really great work out there to get you out of the proverbial box and to get you thinking. And I've been on some of Indigo's webinars. Great firm to learn a little bit more about how to think out of the box. Other practical ways of thinking out of the box is having a mastermind. Have people on your team who are ready to contribute, who are ready to share, who are ready to help you come out with great ways of solving problems. Now, if you're a project manager and you've read the PMBOK guide, we've talked about focus groups, facilitated workshops, we've talked about brainstorming, we've talked about the nominal group technique, we've talked about mind mapping. There are so many ways for you to practically come out with solutions to problems. In a lot of the workshops I do, and if you would like a workshop on the 12 Laws of Stakeholder Leadership, definitely contact me at the link that you find below or in the comment section. But in a lot of my workshops, I use a very simple tool. It's called the Ishikawa diagram, and it really helps a lot of my clients to find solutions to project management or manufacturing or technical type problems. Think about using the Ishikawa or the cause and effect diagrams. Think about gathering an inner team to brainstorm and solve these problems. Okay, so project manager, the law of solvability. People who solve problems influence their stakeholders, and this gives them a leadership edge. Thanks for your audience, and look forward to more laws on this channel. Please subscribe. Take care.